Addis Ababa. We're going to raise a lot of issues regarding the economic, political, and social cooperation between the two countries. Welcome, Ambassador. Let me start from introducing yourself for our audience.
Thank you very much. My name is Samad Ali Lakizadeh. I graduated in political science. I'm married and father of two children. I joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 1991. It's almost 30 years I am working for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Islamic Republic of Iran in the diplomatic area. My first posting abroad was in France because I speak French as well. I studied French and Arabic language beside the political science in the university in Tehran. My second posting also was in Europe, in Brussels, Belgium. And the third one was in Zagreb, Croatia, former Yugoslavia. My fourth mission, which was my first ambassadorial posting, was in Warsaw, Poland. Then mostly I used to work in Europe with the European issues and problems. Now, as my fifth mission, I am very glad to be in the Africa. And this is my first assignment in the Africa. And I am very pleased that I started from very good and important place, Addis Ababa. Ethiopia, which is an important country, located in this strategic important location, Horn of Africa, as well as serving as the capital city for whole African continent by hosting the African Union. For every diplomat who are assigned in Africa, the Addis will be a favorite place to work because it gives any diplomats much more opportunities to get familiar with the not only with the national issues, Ethiopian issues, as well as the whole continent and African issues as well. Then I am very pleased to have the opportunity finally to come to the Addis as my first assignment in Africa, which provide me further opportunity to get familiar with the different issues, other part of the world, because I used to work mostly in Europe, as I said. Then it will give me much more opportunity to get much more experience about the diplomatic issues related to this country as well as to the African continent. It's almost 8 months I am here. Then, as I said, very pleased because this is an important country. Ethiopia is land of the humankind, the origin of the humankind, human being, as well as an important country in the region and in the African continent as well, with a big nation, with an old civilization. And what is much more interesting to me is that I found lots of similarity between Ethiopia and Iran, my country. Both Ethiopia and Iran enjoys the many factors, including the historical background. They are belonging to the old and ancient important civilization, Persia and Iran and Aksum in Ethiopia. Both are located in important strategic location, as I said before. Ethiopia here in the Horn of Africa, and Iran is located in the heart of Middle East, which is an important strategic region affected all world by its problems and its issues. Both countries enjoys a large size regarding the territorials, the territories they possess, as well as the considerable population, 85 million in Iran and 110 or 20 million in Ethiopia. But rather than all that, what is much more interesting to me is that both countries are the true symbols of the pluralism and diversity I noticed Ethiopia very rich in the cultural diversity. In Iran also we enjoy such a diversity and multilateralism and pluralism because we also have different ethnicity, Kurds, Arabs, Baluchs, Turkmens, Azeris, beside the Persian, the Farsi, as well as the Christian and Jews and Muslims, Sunnite and Shiite, different ethnicities, different languages, different religions, all enjoy the peaceful coexistence, both in Iran and in Ethiopia as well. It was very interesting to me to notice such a huge and big similarities between Iran and Ethiopia, especially in this regard.
I would like to say welcome once again.
Thank you.
I hope you can have a good time upon your stay. Coming back to the next question, most people don't believe like Ethiopia and Iran don't have any diplomatic relationship. Can you please tell us Ethiopia and Iran diplomatic relationship, including how it dates back?
A very good question. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. In fact, let me to categorize that in two parts. First, to refer to the ancient relation and contact between two big nations and two big and important civilizations. And secondly, to the modern diplomatic relation. Referring to the first part, of course, our bilateral relation, I mean Iran and Ethiopian bilateral relation enjoys very important, long-standing historical relation going back to 2,500 years ago, even before the Aksum Empire here and Persian Empire in Iran. From that moment, we started to have our bilateral tie, our trade exchange, even our cultural exchange from that moment. You know, in the Achaemenid inscription in Iran, located in south and western part of Iran, there is some stones found. The name of the ancient Ethiopian name, Kushia, is mentioned in that inscription, which are located in Iran. The Kushia is mentioned there from 2,500 years ago. This is a good sign that even from that moment, the ancient time, we had not only in the simple trade exchange or contact or relation, but the relation was so strong that the name of Kushia was mentioned in the inscriptions, engraved in the stones in southern and in west and southern part of Iran. Rather than that, you may heard within the Iranian troops, when the Iranian then king Xerxes invaded Greece, among the Iranian troop, infantry unit from the Ethiopian citizen took part in that invasion, in that war between Iran and Greece in the ancient time. Let me also mention that you may heard about the Mani. Mani is an Iranian ancient prophet and painter as well, well known especially because of his painting. He was also a writer. He mentions in his manuscript that at that moment, almost 2,000 years ago, he mentions Iran, Persia, Aksum, beside China and Rome as the four big civilizations and countries at his age, at his time. Rather than that, we heard also within the history that in another Iranian king when invaded Egypt, again, Ethiopian citizens were supporting Iranian army invading Egypt in the ancient time. All that means that our bilateral relation enjoy from very important historical background beginning from the ancient time. That's not all. Just let me refer to the 5th century as well. In the 5th century, religious delegation from Ethiopia visited Iran. In fact, they had a mission by the Ethiopian church to visit Iran and to try to help to solve the problems among the Iranian Christians at that moment. And they are welcome. They were welcome to Iran, and they were allowed to intervene and to try to solve the problems within the Iranian Christian community at that moment. That's not all. Let me just come back again to the Middle Age. In the Middle Age, we again resumed our bilateral relation, especially our trade exchange via Harar region. Even now, if you go to the Harari Museum, you can find many manuscripts and any other cultural objects belonging to Iran and showing and proving that the cultural and trade exchange and relation between Iran and Ethiopia. That's a short review of the ancient time, very ancient historical bilateral relation between Iran and Ethiopia. But coming back to the modern arena, in fact, our modern diplomatic relations started and contacts started through the League of Nations. After League of Nations, we had royal families visit from Ethiopia, Haile Selassie, to Iran. And after that, of course, we opened our embassy and we established our bilateral diplomatic relation with Ethiopia exactly from 1950. It's almost 70 years ago. We started our modern diplomatic relation. During these 71 years of bilateral relation, our embassy in Addis Ababa were active continuously and non-stop. Although from the other hand, unfortunately, we didn't have Ethiopian embassy continuously working in Tehran, capital city of Iran. It was you had the embassy in there, but it was for a short period. We hope that Ethiopia will be able to reopen again its embassy in Tehran. This year, 2021, is the 50th anniversary of the implementation of Amity Treaty of friendship between Iran and Ethiopia. This 71 years of diplomatic relation resulted in many agreements and memorandum of understanding between Iran and Ethiopia in different fields. In the industrial field, in the economic cooperation, agriculture, cultural cooperation, health cooperation, science and technology. We had many agreements which provide the legal basis for further cooperation between Iran and Ethiopia. Rather than that, of course, we have a very good cooperation in the international arena as well, in the international organization such as UN, United Nations, non-alignment movement, as well as Group of 77, and many other international organizations. We have very good cooperation. We support each other candidacy, which we support each other's in that organization. Then you see this long-standing diplomatic relation provided us many opportunities to keep in touch, to continue and to increase our bilateral relation in different fields. Even at this moment, some Iranian companies are working and are active in Ethiopia. You may hear Iran Gas, Iran Merifik, which provides gas for the home use in capsule to many parts of Ethiopia, and also Sweet Honey is another company working and active in Addis. as well as in the other part of Ethiopia as well. Before that, Iran also were active in many factories, providing and such as, for example, aluminum factory, melamine factories, and we had many other activities in energy sector, in the electricity supply to the factories, in different aspect. And I mentioned we had a good cooperation. These are just some aspects of our bilateral relation. Then my message to the Ethiopian, especially the younger generation, is that to get familiar what we had in bilateral in the ancient time, but not to focus and not to stop in the ancient time, come back again to the modern age and follow the bilateral relation between two important countries and two old and civilized nations. These are the important assets for two countries to take in account, to work on it, to go further for boosting and increasing our bilateral relation in different aspects.
Sure, yeah. I think the historical background you have told me, the historical background, the diplomatic relation between the two ancient countries is very impressive. Regarding major areas of cooperation as a government, what are the major areas of focus or cooperation that Iranian government is working with Ethiopia?
In fact, from our part, Iran is ready to increase and to upgrade our bilateral relation in every aspect. You know, Iran is despite the 4 decades of unilateral American sanctions and embargo, we made lots of progress in different fields, in high tech, in cyberspace, in biotechnology, in nanotechnology, in the space science, in the atomic energy, even in the military, in the drone, and of course, it's worth to mention in the medicine field as well, in the agricultural, in the industries, in the construction field as well. In all that fields, we are ready, and we have many opportunities to offer to the Ethiopian. Then the ground is ready from our part. We are completely ready to cooperate. It's now up to the Ethiopian government and Ethiopian to decide about how to deal with this issue. We know that Ethiopia, as an emerging country, needs to increase and to widen its foreign policy as well as its foreign trade. But for me, as the diplomatic representative of my country, I am a little bit surprised with the shortage of foreign currency Ethiopia facing, why we are not able to use the barter mechanism to increase our bilateral relation. There is lots of opportunity in this regard. We import many foods and foods item and raw materials. You, as Ethiopia, you can provide lots of them. We also can provide you the industrial product, as I said, in different fields. This is regarding the economic and trade exchange between two sides. But let's not to stop only in the trade and economic cooperation. Although during the last decades, we had our 6th round of our Joint Commission for Economic Cooperation. It served, as I said, to the exchange of high-level delegation and to increase our bilateral relation. Before this sanction, the volume of our bilateral relation was almost $70 million, US dollars. Although there is a capacity until 300 million capacities for the first step, if we use the cash. But with using the barter mechanism, We can even go further. It's up to, from our part, as I said, we are completely ready. I expressed the readiness of my country, but it's up to Ethiopia. As I know, there is some restriction regarding the barter mechanism, using the barter mechanism in your country. It's, of course, your policy. It's up to you. If you give rooms, of course, there will be many other opportunities. As I said, let's not to stop in the just trade and exchange cooperation. Let's go even to the cultural cooperation. Fortunately, we have a cultural section, cultural department related to our embassy just in the next alley, in the next street here. Before COVID, our cultural department had very, very good and important activities showing the Ethiopian the opportunities of our country as well as the culture and tradition of Iranian nation and Iranian people. Before COVID, there was a workshop organized by the cultural department of my embassy to empower the Ethiopian ladies and Ethiopian women. Although 1,000 Ethiopian women took part, attended that workshop to learn how to weave Iranian carpet. You know, in our culture, Iranian carpet is the famous, very famous carpet in the world, very high qualified in the world. Iranian carpet, beside Iranian pistachio, Iranian saffron, they are some of Iranian caviar also, caviar. They are #1 in whole world. Then from cultural point of view also, we should get much more familiar with each other. That is another field of cooperation. From our part, we are completely ready to hold some art exhibition, cultural exhibition. Unfortunately, due to the COVID, we are not able to offer all we can do, but we are waiting in due time. We will do that. Also, we can invite Ethiopia and Ethiopian, especially with the rich cultural diversity, which I notice in Ethiopia. You are welcome to Iran. You can also offer and present Ethiopian cultural tradition to the Iranian nation as well. Rather than that, not to forget about the political cooperation and diplomatic cooperation as well. As I said, we have a lot in common. There is lots of similarity between Iran and Ethiopia. We can use all that to increase not only cultural and economic cooperation between two countries, but also diplomatic and political cooperation between two countries. I mentioned that in the international arena, in the international organization, we have a very good cooperation with the Ethiopian government. We do support each other's candidacy for the international organization. In last 2 years, it's happened 4 times. 2 times we supported Ethiopian candidacy, and 2 times again, Ethiopian supported our candidacy as well for the international organization membership. Taking in account that Iran and Ethiopia both strongly believe in the multilateralism in the international relation, then that could provide us a very huge and important opportunity to cooperate, because both countries believe in the multilateralism in the international scene. Rather than that, as I mentioned before, both countries are located in a very strategic location, close to each other: Persian Gulf, Middle East, and Gulf of Aden and Red Sea, Horn of Africa. We have lots of issues. We can cooperate, we can consult each other, we can exchange views and experience in these fields also to cooperate with each other. Rather than that, Iran has a lot to offer to Ethiopia, taking in account the political and diplomatic field of cooperation. You know, Iran has a valuable experience fighting in international terrorism. We fought ISIS in Iraq, in Syria as well. Then we have a very important, valuable experience in that case. This can be used fighting terrorism in different form in the east of Africa as well. Rather than that, let me to refer to the Iranian moderate reading of Islam. Iranian moderate reading of Islam can use to counter the extremism and fundamentalism misuse of religion in the east of Africa, in the Horn of Africa. Let's just refer to what happened before yesterday in the United Nations. You got a resolution regarding the human rights. Yeah. Then we, as the Islamic Republic of Iran, we are very familiar with such kind of foreign pressure in our government. I noticed that the Ethiopian government also is facing such a foreign pressures, misuse of human rights as a political instrument to make pressure, to exert pressure on the independent countries. Iran and Ethiopia both are independent countries, never colonized. Having independent policy in the foreign policy as well, believing and to the multilateralism, as I said. Why not to cooperate in all these political, international, and diplomatic field and issue with each other? Although we both are the victim of the foreign intervention, foreign interference in our internal issues. You see, there is lots of opportunity, lots of room for cooperation in different fields, political, diplomatic, economic, cultural, in many, many other fields. We have lots of opportunity to cooperate. Using this interview, I can encourage my Ethiopian colleagues to use the mechanism of the annual political consultation between two ministries, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the country, at least to study the fields of cooperation and to exchange views, sharing experience in different aspects related to each other, and both countries are facing with.
Sure. I hope the Minister of Foreign Affairs will take this into account. Coming back to the next question, as you know, Ethiopia is in the reform journey. It has been a kind of 3 years since Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed took power. And then a couple of, I think, months ago, Ethiopia had elected, and again, the Prime Minister Abiy's party, Prosperity Party, has won the parliament, and it will be government for the upcoming 5 years. So, regardless of challenges, as you have said, pressures from foreign countries, including the United States of America, how do you observe the Ethiopia's reform journey, and what is your advice for the new government to take into account?
First of all, let me to say that the reforms, the economic and political, social political reforms in Ethiopia, as you know and everybody knows, was welcomed by many, many countries, including Iran. Islamic Republic of Iran also welcomed and appreciated the reforms started in Ethiopia, economic reforms as well as the political reform as well. This is my first remark regarding the reforms. It is welcomed and appreciated by many, many countries, including Iran. We appreciate that's reforms. We think it's in the favor of the Ethiopian nation and Ethiopian country, this country, I mean. Rather than that, you referred to the election. Exactly 2 days before the parliamentarian election in Ethiopia, we had our presidential election in Iran. Fortunately, we received the congratulatory message from your president, Honorable President of Ethiopia, in this regard. Even officials and authorities, high-level officials from Ethiopia are invited for the inauguration of Iranian new president, which will be held in 5 August in Tehran. We welcome Ethiopian officials who are invited to take part in that inauguration. Of course, with the election you held here in Ethiopia, it was a very good, positive, democratic move. As I remember, during last 2 decades, it is the first multilateral and plural election with the presence of different political parties. For sure, when the new government settled down here in Ethiopia and also the new presidency in Iran, we can use the new opportunities to increase our bilateral relation in different fields. As I said, Iran can support Ethiopian reforms, especially in the economic and political field, with the scope and fields of cooperation and opportunities which exist between 2 countries and between two sides. We do support this reform here in Ethiopia. We can cooperate with the new governments of Ethiopia. Of course, we do appreciate, and let me to use this opportunity to express my congratulation. Of course, the congratulation, official congratulation of my country, my government also will come very soon after the official declaration of the establishment of the new government. We are ready to use all the opportunity and to make our utmost effort to increase our cooperation, our relation with the Ethiopian new government, which is based on the democratic way and the election and the democratic way to form the new government. Let me, rather than that, to say that, to be honest, some Iranian officials, especially many Iranian thinkers and analysts and journalists and reporters, they believe that somehow Ethiopian foreign policy, especially in our region, I mean in the Middle East, it's a sort of unbalanced policy, taking in account the importance of Persian Gulf and the important role Iran play not only in the region but also in the international arena. They are witnessing that Ethiopia has diplomatic representatives, if many, even in all of southern countries, in the country located in the southern part of Persian Gulf. But unfortunately, we miss your embassy, your diplomatic representative in Iran. That is why some Iranian officials, especially the journalists, the analysts, the thinkers, believe through the political reforms in Ethiopia, they hope, and we also hope, that the reforms will also cover this leakage, this issue, to make the foreign policy, Ethiopian foreign policy, I am talking about our region, Middle East, about Iran, my country and surrounding country, to make it much more balanced. It will be in the favor of both countries, especially Ethiopia. because it could help for further cooperation, further exchange of views and experiences, which can be used in the favor of two nations and two countries.
Sure.
That is, I say, what we are expecting from the new government,
yeah,
and from the new moves, new steps of the new government.
Yeah, I think and I believe Ethiopia will reopen its embassies in Tehran.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Then to the next and the biggest question. Ethiopia, as you know, is building the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam just only for developmental issues, but it became a topic of dispute between the downstream countries. As usual, Ethiopia is saying, I'm building this grand project so as to make my citizens to live a better life and other issues. But including Arab League and various countries across the world are pressurizing Ethiopia regarding this grand project. Regarding your country, Iran, what is your stand or your looking regarding the project?
Yeah. Let me to be honest. Firstly, from my point of view, it's your internal issues. It's an internal issue of the Ethiopian people and government. Iran as a country has no direct interest to interfere in this issue. But we know that Ethiopians have right to use their own God-given sources for the sake of their own people's welfare and prosperity. We believe that this dam, GERD, first of all, the issue of the dam is a technical and development issue, not political and security issues. Of course, this dam will serve not only Ethiopian peoples and Ethiopian nation, but also many other countries, neighboring countries as well, for the sake of development, especially development. This is my first remark regarding the GERD. Secondly, I can add that although this is an internal issue, but it has an impact on the neighboring country as well, especially downstream countries. We, as Iran, believe and support African solution for African problem. Then, I think the best way to solve the problem would be using the opportunities provided by the African Union to solve this African problem. We do support every solution based on international law and regulation in the peaceful framework through dialogue and cooperation, through good neighborliness, which we believe will be in the favor of all three countries disputing the issue. That is my point of view and our looking regarding the GERD.
Great. I'm about to finish my question, and finally, as you have told me, you have stayed here in Addis Ababa for the last 8 months. Can you please tell me your observation regarding the people's hospitality, the food, the weather, and other things? And then at the end, any message you'd like to deliver for citizens, international communities, or Ethiopian government?
Thank you very much. I was expecting this question. In fact, as I said, I was during these 8 months of my stay here in Addis Ababa, although I didn't have many opportunity to visit other parts of Ethiopia rather than Havasa shortly and Langano. I stayed mostly in Addis. I was surprised, first of all, I was surprised by lots of similarity, as I mentioned it, between two nations and two countries. I won't repeat again. Rather than that, I was surprised by many things in Addis, many positive things, of course. I found the city, every corner of the city, you can find a huge construction project. I was telling to my daughter, if 10 years later we will be able to come back again to Addis, we won't recognize the city because there will be lots of progress, lots of projects. Whole Addis will change with this huge construction project we notice here. That is one of the important and amazing things I noticed. Secondly, the diversity, as I mentioned before, and pluralism in this city, which is symbol of whole Ethiopia. I noticed different culture, different ethnic, different languages, different religion. Rather than that, rather than this diversity, which is a big asset in its own, which is important, the peaceful coexistence of people with each other. Very important, amazing, interesting. Christian and Muslim, the different ethnicities, they are living with each other in a very peaceful manner. Keeping. The third matter I noticed is the importance Ethiopian people, especially the Addis citizens, pay to the religious values. Every Friday, every Sunday and Saturday, when I am walking around the city, I am witnessing many people, Muslims and Christians, on the way to the church and mosque. Very important. They are very well attached to their religions. Rather than religion, also I noticed the Addis citizen and Ethiopian people's attachment to their culture and tradition. They pay attention to their culture and tradition. They keep very attached and very keen to respect the values of the culture, tradition, as well as the values related to the family, which is very strong in this country and very similar to mine. All I said about Addis is also true regarding my country. Is that enough, or let me just to add two more things? Yeah, let me just to add two more things, which is interesting also to me and my family. First, we noticed that there is few people smoking. It's rare to find people smoking in the street in Addis. Sure, yeah. Very interesting, very amazing. Rather than that, the second also, I found very interesting that every Sunday morning, all streets, mostly all streets in Addis, dedicated to the youth and youngs to play football. Yeah. Very interesting. I found it very interesting, and they play football in all streets, and the Addis citizens are very familiar, very friendly toward this youth and youngs. They give them opportunities, although there are shops, there are markets, but it is very noticeable in Addis that every Saturday morning all youngs and youth use the streets to play football. Both issues, I mean, less smoking and more sport is the matter of health, and I can encourage the Ethiopian people, especially the Addis citizens, to keep strongly this hobby, and to exercise further in this line.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Addis Ababa is a kind of like the smallest Ethiopia.
Yeah.
You know, everything you see in Addis Ababa is the replica of
Symbol of, yes, whole Ethiopia. You also ask about the weather. Very nice, wonderful weather. You know, at this moment in Tehran, we are facing 40 degree, 40 Celsius degree, yeah, in Tehran. Although Iran, my country, is a country of 4 seasons. At one time, you can have all 4 seasons in 4 different parts of Iran. At the same time, you can go skiing in the northern part, in the mountainous part. At the same time, you can go to the southern part for swimming. But at this moment, in July, Tehran is very hot, very warm. Addis weather is perfect, nice. I enjoy this weather very well. Very interesting weather.
Ethiopia is 13 months of sunshine, and it is gifted by this natural weather. Anyways, Mr. Ambassador, I'm really thank you for your precious time. I hope we will meet some other time, because we're going to have lots of things we need to discuss regarding the 2 ancient and brotherly countries. But for now, I have to finish right here. Thank you, dear viewers. This was my program I made with Mr. Ambassador, Iranian Ambassador here in Addis Ababa. We have raised a lot of issues. I hope we will meet some other time. Thank you for watching. I am
welcome.
Wagayo Mulena, the producer and presenter of the program. Stay tuned to other Addis TV programs. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.